Hi everybody, today we're going to be baking jollof, and if you've never tried oven baked jollof, then this recipe is for you. And if you don't want to bake it, so you can decide to cook it on your normal gas stove. Okay, let's get started. This is my tomato mix, and I always like to use red stuff as well as fresh herbs. So I have here 3 bell peppers, large ones. I have tomatoes, I have red pepper. I use red chillies and red pepper because I like very spicy jollof. And I added a little beetroot to this. The beetroot just brings out the color, and I'm just going to roast this in my air fryer. If you have an oven, you can use that to roast it. Then I blend it. Okay, so when you blend it, you get a very red and smooth texture, and that's exactly what we want. There are other methods you can use for your tomato mix. You can decide to cook it before you blend. You can decide to fry it before you blend. But when you roast it, it also works very well, okay? So here is my stew base mix as well as my pepper mix. I decided to use yellow Scotch Bonnet this time, and I'm just going to blend this as well. This time I used coriander instead of parsley for my herbs, okay? It gave it a very vibrant color, and I really loved it, okay? So I'm just going to work on my protein, and here I'm going to teach you how you can tenderize your protein if your protein is too hard for you. So here I have cow meat. I have already washed it, so I'm going to add some water to this, and to tenderize it, I'm going to be adding some baking soda. Baking soda is a cooking ingredient. It's used to soften so many proteins as well as beans and any other hard food ingredients that you have in your kitchen. So I'm going to add some salt as well just to preserve it, and cover this and let it sit in your fridge or anywhere for at least an hour. If you get a chance to do this overnight, that will work faster. It will soften it completely. Otherwise, hours before you cook your meat, you can do well to tenderize it with baking soda. This is how I steam my meat. So I'm just going to add my pepper mix that I blended earlier to my protein, add my seasoning mix. You can check the description box. I've listed all the seasonings I used in this recipe. Then I'm going to add some water to this because I always try to make stock for my jollof. I try as much as possible not to add any water to the jollof. The stock flavor will just bring out more flavor in my jollof. Once your meat is soft and cooked as well, you're just going to take it out, and this is how my stock looks, and I'm going to use this stock to make my jollof. I intentionally made it this way so that I can get enough liquid in the jollof if I need it. Now let's make our jollof stew. In your saucepan, add in some oil, add enough oil, then you're going to add in your chopped onions. I use 3 large onions for this. Fry it for 3 to 5 minutes, and then add in your pepper mix or your stew base mix. At this point, you're just going to give this a good mix and continue to fry this. You can turn down the heat as well so that you don't get burnt in your food, okay? So just cover this for at least 10 minutes and let this properly fry before you add in your tomato paste. Because once you add the tomato paste, then you're going to add your tomato mix and your stew is going to be ready soon. So you're just going to add your tomato paste, and one thing about jollof is it needs a lot of tomato paste. That's one of the secrets to getting that red jollof, okay? So you're going to fry the tomato paste as well before you add in the tomato mix. I always like to fry it very well so that your stew will taste very nice that way. Don't just pour it and add the tomato mix inside. No. Please try as much as possible to fry it for at least 10 minutes before you add the tomato mix like this. You can see how red my tomato mix is. This is an assurance that your jollof is going to be very red. So if you try my pepper mix combo or my tomato mix combo, you are going to get one of the best jollof recipes ever, okay? So just cover it and let your stew cook. This will take about 25 minutes because when you roast your pepper mix, it doesn't make your stew take so long to cook. Now I'm going to be seasoning this stew with my Kivo curry plus powder. It has 16 natural spices in it, so it really brought out the flavor of my jollof. And then I'm going to add my jollof seasoning mix. Check the caption for the seasoning mix combo. I have it there. Now I'm just going to give this a good mix and then cover it for extra 5 minutes. Let the stew properly cook before you start baking your jollof. Now in your baking tray, you're going to transfer some of the stew into it. If your stew is a lot, don't pour everything. Just pour the quantity that you need, and then you're just going to add your rice. I'm using the usual jasmine rice for this jollof because it's actually nicer in jollof than basmati, in my opinion. And you can cook jasmine rice for it to come out single grained. It's just a matter of how you cook it. Do not add too much water or liquid into the jollof, and try as much as possible to let your stew soak up the rice so that it can cook the jollof well like this. Now, because I'm going to be baking my jollof, I mix everything on the side before I transfer it into my oven. Now I'm going to add in my meat stock and continue to mix this well, and that's the only liquid or water content I'm going to be adding to this jollof. If I would want to add anything else, I'll just sprinkle more stock on it. I won't add a lot of it. So you're just going to cover this with your aluminum foil, trap the heat in it, and then put this in your oven. You can double the foil if you have to do that. Jollof cooks with steam, okay? And then I'm just going to transfer this into my oven and bake it at 350 degrees for an hour. And this is what we have. You can be checking it from time to time in the oven and stir it at least once before you get this result, okay? Now I'm just going to stir it again because it's not fully cooked. I'm going to add my proteins now. So I'm adding my cow meat, and I'm going to add some plantain as well. And then adding more sauce for my stew and add some vegetables as well. Now you're just going to mix everything together and then cover it again with your foil paper and transfer this into your oven once again for at least 20 minutes. This way your jollof will properly cook and you have your perfectly baked oven jollof, and this tasted so good. The only difference between this and normal jollof is this has no kanzo, so it makes me a little sad, but that's okay. You can still try it, and you don't have to stir too much with the oven baked jollof like the way you stir when you're cooking on your stove. Now my jollof is ready and it tasted so good. I hope you guys will try this recipe. When you do, let me know how it goes, and do not forget to subscribe to this channel, like and share my videos as well. Bye.